And that's why that contention with him and Shaq, right? They came to fisticuffs, right? Blows almost. They did come to blows. But that's what family does sometimes. It gets ugly. But when you come out of it, you come out with 3 rings.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Think RBA podcast. As always, I am here with Mr. Okedon himself.
Okedon, that's right.
Hak, what's going on, brother?
I'm here, man. I'm here.
And yours truly, Ken.
Tag team.
Back for another episode. And so we're starting to creep up towards a milestone. We started this new year, right? Just 2 episodes talking about New Year's goals and resolutions and all that good stuff, right? So quick call to action, right? We're approaching 50 subs on YouTube, right? Let's say I want to set a stretch goal.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get to double that in the next 2 months.
Oh, I'm for it.
Double it in the next 2 months. So we need y'all help, right?
Yes.
If whether you're here for the first time, hit that like, follow, subscribe, all of it, right? But tell a friend, share some of the clips, right? Comment, engage, help us to get in that algorithm.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we can try to get to 100 in the next 2 months.
Yes, let's do it.
So that's
man.
by like what? End of March?
End of March. Yeah.
End of March.
The new season.
That'll be
right?
our
the new spring
own
season.
Yeah, that'll be our own March Madness.
There you go.
There we go.
Let's try to get there. So we need your help hitting that milestone.
So that's the plan. All right. So need y'all help.
So
subscribe, like, follow.
All that.
All of it.
All the platforms.
All the platforms.
Please.
So, sir,
we're here.
We are here. Today's episode is gonna be a little different.
All right.
A little different.
We've
been having a lot of fun lately.
We have.
We've been having a lot of fun, a lot of games,
a lot of guessing games.
Just trying to keep it interesting and different and unique. But today's episode is gonna be a little more serious.
Okay.
A little more somber, because the day this episode comes out is gonna be the 4-year anniversary of passing of the legend himself, Mr. Kobe Bean Bryant, the Mamba. And so we had talked in the New Year's episode, just kind of like a history of where we had come from. And we did a whole audio episode back then.
Oh my God, yeah.
About Ode to the Mamba,
yes,
remember?
Ode to the Mamba.
But that was when it was super, super fresh.
Yeah,
I mean, it had
just happened.
And very, very fresh scar for everybody. It's still a fresh scar, really.
Yeah.
For the sports world. Again, you can't even say basketball world. It's crazy how much he transcends everything. Like,
seriously,
it's just a scratch on the world. Like, but anyway, we did an episode there, but it's not something we have revisited since. And given that our episode's going to come out on the day of that anniversary, we thought, okay, let's maybe do something to honor the Mamba. We already got him up here on the wall, right? We got his book that's always on the shelf. We pulled it out for this episode, but we want to do it differently. We're just going to talk about our favorite Kobe moments. We got to come up with different ways. So we were brainstorming in the group chat, like, what can we do? How can we do it differently? As always, Mr. Okedon himself comes up with, a really unique way that we can figure out how to like do it. But I haven't talked to you about this yet, but I'm gonna challenge you with this. We should look for a different, unique way every year to honor him. In January of every year.
I love it.
Each year will be something a little bit different, some other twisted
man, you got my brain going.
But nothing that's like,
Oh, they did this last year.
Nothing. We did this last year. No favorite moments. No, like, just
so that was the thing. Like, when we were brainstorming, and I don't want to. This is not on my. It's like this is teamwork, right? This is how we brainstorm together. We get in that room. It's the energy we get. And we were feeding off each other. And when you said, let's do this episode, but we want to be different, I'm like, all right. Every one of them mothers probably gonna do favorite moments. The typical, right? The typical.
Right.
Mainstream media does the typical thing year after year after. So how do you differentiate yourself? Oh, there's a book here, right? And I'm gonna let you introduce how we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But that was like the thing where, and now that you're challenging me for this next level, if this is not Mamba like, what is?
Oh no, I got you. I'm always present you with a challenge.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is our RBA.
I know how to like just sprinkle out little bits of information enough that will get you like going
Bro, you
because
got
you're the
my
more
brain
creative
already
one.
going,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
you're the more creative one for sure.
I don't know about
I'm
that.
just here so I don't get fined. But nonetheless. So real quick, first, let's just start off with a quick toast
Sure.
to the Mamba. I mean, a man who changed the game of basketball, a man who literally like found multiple ways to redefine himself.
Yeah.
And we thought his best was on the court, but his best had just started to scratch the surface of what
Right.
he was doing post NBA career and the knowledge that he was giving out and what he was giving back to the youth. And we were robbed as a world
Yeah.
of all the additional off-court greatness that Kobe Bryant would have brought to us. So cheers to the Mamba. 8-second silence. All right, I'm gonna take a sip for
absolutely.
Kobe.
I mean, I would do one of these, but
Yeah, we pour one out, but not on the carpet. But let's start a little stereotypical, right? And just real quick, like I just want to go back to that day because I don't know if you remember, but it's one of those moments that for whatever reason, like I just know exactly where I was, what I was doing, how I was feeling, like all of it in that moment. Do you remember yours?
I have a faint memory of it, not the exact specifics on it.
So for me, I was sitting there and I think it was there was a football game on. It was something on because I was on a couch and I was watching sports, whether it was a pregame to like one of the playoff games because it's playoff divisional round, championship games, whatever. But there was something I was watching sporting event wise, but I was also scrolling through Twitter. And then you start to see these little like rumors that are popping up and like they're starting to spread like wildfire all over Twitter. And you're like, no, this can't be like, because there's been times where Twitter has killed off celebrities that they're, completely healthy.
Right.
But for whatever reason, there's just crazy rumors get out there and spread. And when you hear about somebody that like you respect so much, like Kobe, you're like, nah, that's not true.
Right.
It's not true.
Right.
But it was like, then all of a sudden, okay, the LA County sheriff or somebody tweets about it. Like, oh, like there was a helicopter crash. Like, but was it his? Like, are we sure? Like, how do we know he would like all these questions? But then it started to just unravel, almost it seemed like minute by minute, like, and then all of a sudden it was just like, boom, confirmed. And I remember sitting there on my couch, just like completely stunned. And I think the worst part for me was thinking about like all the kids that were on the helicopter as well. Like it wasn't even just like,
right.
It wasn't even just about this icon who we all, love, but there was that. And then thinking about like, man, like what if that was me and my daughter? You get to those moments like how as a father and especially with Gigi, who was like, I'm sure we're both sports parents. Every moment that your kid is out there playing sports, you love every minute of it.
Absolutely.
Right. And the fact that he was like coaching them, coaching her to be, and she like had the same competitive drive that he had, like, he just had a different bond with her.
Oh yeah.
And loved every second of her, of just enjoying her basketball journey. And that was just like such a heartbreaking thing to like think about, like in their last moments, and I'm sure that it happened so quickly, but it's just those were like the things that were running through my mind, just like how just awful I felt for him. And then then I transitioned to like how awful I felt for, Vanessa and the rest of the family before it even got to like, damn, this is Kobe, right? But yeah, it's just trying to be like, I was in my living room and of course I'm like sending messages to people like, did you hear? Is this true? Like, no way, not Kobe, right? And I think a lot of people reacted that way. I mean, it just was so sudden and felt random. It felt random.
It did. It really did. For me, initially, when it first came out, I remember what my initial thought was. This is probably one of the worst pranks I've ever seen. Like this is a disgusting prank. This is not funny because I know Twitter, aka
Yeah.
X, sometimes goes down that
Mhm.
that line. But soon I was like, this is disgusting. It's not funny. I'm ignoring this. And then different sources started coming up, and that's when it got like, what, really? And I had a lot of different lines of thought with this as well. And first was, Kobe, not Kobe. Like this guy comes back from like craziest injuries, fights through pain, plays through excruciating pain, pops his finger back in and goes back in the game, right?
Right.
Tore his Achilles, go in and hit his free throws. Can't be him. Out of all people, he probably even survived it. Who knows, right? That's like that's the kind of mentality he had. I can survive anything. I can go through anything.
Yeah.
Then later, you're like, when you then there's some footage that came. You see, you're like, man, that might be wow. It was almost like surreal, like unreal. That really just happened, or is that just some CGI dirty prank again? But when the police and like the sheriff's department came out, like, that's when it really clicked. And then the thing that really hit me was like yourself, like you said, when I found out that kids were on, other families were on.
Yeah.
They were on their way to a basketball game. And my first initial was like, all right, Kobe, I mean, I don't know if this is going to sound bad or not, but he lived his life though. He lived in at least a decent chunk of his life. His daughter just started.
Yeah.
Those kids just started, right? He's in his 40s, right? Tomorrow's not promised. He at least got to live 40 and some of the other parents, the pilot, whoever. These kids are just in their teens.
Yeah. It's the kids, man. The kids is the hard
Like,
part to
barely
stomach.
got to scratch life and really experience life. There's so much right? So much more. I mean, it's never a good thing, anyone passing away at any stage in life, but it was the kids that really hit me. And the other thing that hit me was, it might be an unpopular opinion, the other families on there, they almost become like ... right? It's Kobe, Gigi, and then ... Nobody knows their names, no one talks about them, and they also have the same pain. So it was just one of those things, like, they always talk about, like, if you're ever gonna die, never die with a celebrity. Right?
Yeah,
Because you're just gonna become a forward.
Like but there was one though, like one little somewhat positive thing that came out. Like the father, who I think his wife and maybe 2 daughters were on, so he had a tremendous amount of loss that particular day. Ended up going on America's Got Talent later, like the show, and doing fairly well on that too. So became like, just to do something out of his grief, like, but also recognizing that there was more than just 2 people on that helicopter. But I don't know, I'm with you. I mean, that's hard when like that's becomes the story, because this our culturally we're just tuned into celebrities, and so that's the children, man.
Right.
The children. It's hard. Like,
as a parent, like, think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much you love watching your child play more than you enjoy playing, and now for them to not even be there.
Well, but not even forget playing. Like, just thinking about life, right? Being in that moment, like, holding my daughter, like, what would I have done or say like that? I think about myself in that situation, and went down a very emotional path with that, like, personally, just and all of that was just my heart breaking for what he had to go through. Right. And not even being able to imagine how I would do or deal with that with my own daughter. So that's tough.
It gave me perspective on, like, if that moment presented itself, and God forbid that anyone has to ever go through something like that, but if that moment ever presents itself, 1, life is fragile, right? And 2, what would my last words be to my family? What can I, the typical I love you, right? Like, but what words of wisdom can I give them to get through something, like, to deal with something like that? And
in a moment like that, you don't even have time. So it's like, what do you tell your daughter as this is happening? Like, or you just hold her and you're helpless. Like, it's it's so sad. I'm start getting emotional again. But it's so difficult to think about. But it was just to kind of wrap that part of the conversation up. Like, I know for me, it just was a very, like, I almost felt like a zombie the rest of the day.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
And I don't normally get like that with celebrities, but I think it was just a combination of the fact that, like, all the things that Kobe was doing at the time, and coming around and, like, coming out to the games and supporting the younger players, and what he was doing with Gigi, and what he was doing with, like, his
the WNBA,
like everything. Yeah. It was just like he had come out of this shell, right?
Correct.
This Mamba shell. He had, like, shed his skin a little bit, and, like, come out
softened up a little
and not even, but he still had that mentality, but he was just
more
showing
giving.
a different side.
Right.
And it was just like, oh, this is gonna be great to see more of it. Like what else can he do? Like
Right.
like that commercial. What more
Yeah.
can
yeah,
you do?
yeah.
Like what I would wanted to see what
Yeah.
more he could do.
Correct.
And yeah, so it was a very somber day, and just disbelief, and then of course following all the like games that were going on, all the tributes that people were doing, with the like when Trey wore the custom 8 jersey
Yep.
out for the, or when they some teams put the ball in the foul line and ran the first 24 shot clock out, and
Right. The next
different
8.
things like that.
Yeah.
But it also like it was heartbreaking too, seeing some of the player reactions, like Booker and Jamal Murray. I like some of the vivid ones that I remember. Like they are finding out on the court, like shoot around.
Yeah.
Like, what? This can't be happening.
Right.
So very, very somber day in my living room, and I don't think I did too much else the rest of the day because I just was like, no, not feeling it.
The one silver lining, if you want to call it that, positive thing that came out of it was that you actually got to see a true sense of, you could measure the true sense of his impact on the globe, right, on the world, where people came together. I saw Lakers Clippers fans who hate each other coming together, right, embracing each other. It was like that, right? Just people of any walk in life. Like he transcended basketball.
He did.
And that's why when I saw people coming together and really embracing each other and crying and just letting like their emotions come out, I told you like, wow, like this guy's impact was, like it was on a totally different level. Like it wasn't like your normal celebrity level. He had gone beyond that point. And that's kind of like that was like, that kind of made me feel good. Like, wow, like that's what you call a legacy. That is a legacy. Not just you made millions, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah.
That is how you give back. And you truly gave back.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and let's shift to what we're going to do this episode.
Let's do it.
So we have our book here, our well-worn, well-read
it's worn,
Mamba
right?
Mentality book that was waiting for that part 2, man.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It's a great book. So many gems, so many nuggets.
That's right.
And so what we decided to do was we're going to have, we have our off-camera guest back from last episode.
Right.
And they are going to actually flip to random pages.
Okay.
And give us a topic from the book that Kobe wrote about.
Okay.
And then we'll give our reactions, our thoughts on him and whatnot. So that we're literally like, this is all off the dome.
It is off the
There's
dome.
no...
We're bringing some old
no
slang
prep,
back?
There's no... bring some more. We have to for these Gen Z kids.
That's right.
Man. No, but there's no prep. It's just reaction, thoughts to it, all that good stuff. You down?
Oh, let's do it, man. I'm for it.
All right. Let's go. Why don't you go ahead and hand it over to him? Man, it's such a great book.
You don't need to introduce.
No. Oh, no, we don't have to introduce it, but we know the book. If you don't know the book, it should be on Amazon right now. Pause the episode, go over to Amazon, buy the book, and then come back.
Yes.
While we wait for Amazon to deliver it in 3 hours, because that's what Amazon's doing these days.
They'll drone it to you.
They will, yeah. They'll just drone it to you.
So, sir, if you could, when you do go over the page, say the page number, right? So if anyone's watching, they can go and reference that page as well on their end.
Okay.
All
right.
You go first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Which page, left or right?
You pick.
All right. Page 59, Muhammad Ali. So it says Muhammad Ali is an icon. That's what it says.
That's where you get to start.
That's it.
He's like, enough said.
And here's the picture.
I mean, listen. And that's young Kobe. He got the fro in that one.
Fro.
Got the fro in that one, right? I mean, listen, like that's a mic drop pick. That's a mic drop pick. Like 2 legends, 2 GOATs. Like that's a historical, iconic picture. I don't know what more to say about that picture where these two really transcended their sport, both of them. They're both iconic. They're both legends. They're both whatever superlative you want to give about them, right?
I think like if you look at, because he hit the scene so quickly, right? And at the point in time where he hit the scene, like the access to some of the greats that he had, right? I mean, that some of our athletes today just don't have. Like,
Right.
you talk about the being able to formulate this Mamba mentality, right? I guarantee you that he got some of these nuggets
Oh yeah.
from these conversations that he would have with greats like
Oh, absolutely.
Muhammad. I mean, like,
Absolutely.
when you talk about just standing up for what you believe in and being yourself, no matter what,
Right.
no matter what other people may think or say about you, right?
Right.
Whether they like you or don't like you,
Right.
but you know what you're doing. Like,
You stand up for what's
who
in your
better
heart.
to learn from than Muhammad Ali?
Correct.
Like,
Because I mean, I don't know if you remember our previous poster, right? The summit.
right?
He took a stand, right?
Yeah.
And he impacted a culture. That's the next person in line right there.
Yeah.
Right behind him.
But then still being able to be the best in your craft.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Right. And if you think about it, like Ken said, right, having access to those icons, but there were a lot of other icons too that came out. There were a lot of other great players that came out along that, but very few had that, or had earned that respect from that caliber, those out caliber icons to say, I want to give you these nuggets. I want to give you this information. But you just don't hand that off to just anybody.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Dun, dun.
All right. Next page is Kobe versus T-Mac.
Mm.
Over here it says Tracy always had quick hands.
Show us the picture.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's Houston T-Mac. Oh, and Orlando.
yeah, they
Yeah.
got both versions of T-Mac on there. So, you know what this takes me back to? It takes me back to one of our earlier episodes when you had the clip of T-Mac talking about Kobe and training.
Yeah.
And how, like, Kobe taught him, like, that you're not gonna go train with anybody else. And then he was the story that he told about going to the gym and then he wasn't there and just messing around. Like, so Kobe was just those mind games.
Yes.
But that's why he always had the one up. I mean, he always did have the one up. T-Mac was capable of getting to Kobe's level, but he didn't quite have the same Mamba mentality level to get there.
So my take on that, just real quick, was as soon as I saw that, one quote came to mind immediately. And this is Kobe. I don't know if you remember, he did this interview with Jimmy Kimmel in the Staples Center during a period when he was injured. And he said that Jimmy asked him a question, who gives you the biggest problems on the court? And he said, T-Mac could do everything that I could do.
Yep.
And he was also bigger, right? He could do the same things. The only thing T-Mac didn't have was the durability.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think the durability, but I also think he didn't quite have the same killer mindset night after night. It's the same consistent.
I don't know, man.
Like, he'd have his moments, but he didn't have that consistent killer mindset.
I don't know. All I know is
because
that
he was on teams that could have won some chips if he really.
he also had a lot of bad luck though, because
He
he
did.
ended
I
up
mean,
with some great players who got injured early.
But I think there's no debate. I mean, it's not. He's not at the Mamba mentality.
No, he's not. But
he's right there. I mean, he's.
yeah.
The
The fact that he's not on top 75 really pushed.
Oh yeah.
He could have been Kobe though.
Yeah,
He could have been
absolutely.
in a different matrix. So,
all right, next one.
All right.
Jinx, stop copying me.
Sorry.
All right. Over here it
Oh
says
boy.
the Lakers are a family.
What page?
It's page doesn't show here. Wait.
Go to the previous page.
Page 90 and 91.
So let me see the picture. Let us see the picture. Oh,
I thought this was a different version of the Lakers.
yeah. So this version of the Lakers, some of those players I don't even recognize. That might have been the dark ages.
No, this is back. This is Kobe has a little fro.
Oh, he does have a fro.
Yeah. This is the earlier.
And there's Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher.
So yeah, I mean, listen, like the Lakers are a dynasty, right? They're a dynasty. They're like a family. When you join the Lakers, you don't just join purple and gold. Like you bleed purple and gold. You don't just, I'm part of the Lakers. Great, like I'm in LA. No, like with him on the team, when you're on a Kobe team, you have to bring a lot more than just yourself onto that court. Like, you have to bring every ounce of your effort 24/7 to earn that man's respect. And there are countless stories, countless examples of how he would chew you up, which is what family does to each other. They challenge each other. I'm going to tell you the uncomfortable truth. And if I'm not going to talk to you for 8 seasons, then I'm not going to talk to you for 8 years. But I'm gonna need you to rise up. Because if you're my brother, we're going to do this the right way. I'm not going to just let you pass. I'm not going to easy pass through this, right? And that's why that contention with him and Shaq, right? They came to, fisticuffs, right? Blows almost. They did come to blows. But that's what family does sometimes. It gets ugly. But when you come out of it, you come out with 3 rings.
Yep.
And then as you mature as a family, you have that sit down, that beautiful sit down that he and Shaq had. Oh my God. And like, that's my little brother.
Exactly.
And that was just such a beautiful moment.
And
like,
even in that sit down, you throw jabs at each other.
Yeah, of course. Like no way, like you and I would do that too, right? But no doubt about it. We're gonna throw them little jabs. But
right.
it was such a beautiful moment to see, like, all right, they're good. Like this is not some permanent permanent scars that are gonna keep down. Like, can you imagine if it had gone on and then this happened?
Oh my God.
He passed away way too early.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're like, I'd be sitting there thinking, man, like I wasted all this time being angry for what? For somebody who I had some great moments with.
Right.
And
now I can't even do anything about it.
Those are life lessons, bro, that we far too often don't, like, we hear about it. Sometimes we even talk about it, but still day-to-day life takes over. You take it for granted, like that time is, like time is on your side, but yet we still hold grudges with different people, and we still do it, and not realizing that you never know when any day might be your last.
Hey man, you know what? Everybody comes with an expiration date,
and you never know what it's gonna be.
Yep.
So that's I'm glad they were able to get together. Like that was actually one of my favorite moments.
Yeah,
was them getting together, doing that interview.
Yes.
All right. So this is the Lakers versus the Celtics in the 2008 finals. Over here it says we were on a collision course.
Oh, facts.
So we talked about this a few times.
We did.
So the 2008 was the collision course where Boston ended up on top.
Yep.
Right. And so I think 2008 was the best thing to happen to that team because it made them hungry.
Oh yeah.
It made them hungry for the next 2.
Yep.
Right? Because they came back and won the next 2, right?
Yeah, the next one was against Orlando, and then the Celtics.
And then no, didn't they come back and win the Celtics next year? Oh,
not next year.
It was 2 years.
The next year.
Yeah.
Because that next year was supposed to be LeBron. However, Orlando made it.
That's right. But either way, it made them like, okay, if we're gonna be a championship team, we got to be a championship team, and that, I think it's one of those, like, you learn from failure situations that toughen that team up, especially because there were a lot of questions back about whether Powell was too soft as a big, right? And Kobe had to help to, like, toughen him up a little bit, especially if you're going against the likes of KG and Perk and like Dwight Howard at the time, who, don't get it twisted, these little Gen Xers that don't know about Dwight Howard back in the day, like Mr. 40 and 20.
Oh yeah.
Like Dwight Howard was a monster.
Another person 75 missing. 75.
Absolutely should be on the top 75. There were questions about, like, is Powell going to be the right one?
Right.
And Kobe used that.
Yep.
He used it in the Olympics. He used it moving forward, like this motivation. Like, I got you. You need to toughen up.
Right.
But I believe in you.
Yep.
And so this was the beginning of that little mini, it wasn't a dynasty, but like little mini dynasty that they got. And I'm glad he was able to get that again and get those without Shaq, because Shaq got his without him. And like they both got something without each other. It's great. Everybody lives, happily ever after. But but I'm just glad that, like, I'm just not glad. I'm just, that moment, I think, toughened them up to what a championship team really needed.
Hands down. I always say that, and the quote, right? You will never learn how to win. Don't learn how to lose.
Yep.
Got to learn how to lose before you learn how to win.
Better write that one down, young man.
Oh, it's ingrained.
All right, next.
Yes, sir.
All right, over here it says, I always started off my routine close to the basket.
Oh, this is the perfect one for you. Jeez. All right. This is going to be the rest of the episode right here, folks. This is going to be the rest of the episode because this is where you turn into your own little version of Kobe, because this is where you and him are like in sync. This is so funny. So funny you would have got to that page.
So anyone who knows me knows how close this is to my heart, like this concept, because I can't stand when we're coaching and I see kids starting off at the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? Thank you, Steph. But even then, Steph is the one who said, I start inside before I go outside. So that routine right there, right? First of all, routine. Forget inside even close to the basket. Routine. You have to be, how do you do a routine? You got to be disciplined, right? You have to have discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be showing up one time, not another time, then late. Like, it doesn't work like that.
And he was probably the most disciplined player.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would be hard pressed for anybody to come into the comments to drop a name of somebody more disciplined than Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
I don't think it exists.
I can only think two guys right now off the top of my head, him and Braun, as how disciplined they are. So first is routine, right? Routine, dedication to that routine. For you to have a routine, you have to be passionate about what you do. Are you in it for the love of the game, or for what the game can bring for you, right? So all those factors play a role into this. Then if you move, and I'm not going to do this long, but let's move into close to the basket, right? Start off with form shooting, then you work a little bit of footwork, get comfortable with the glass, work your way out, get comfortable, feel your shot. And when I see that picture, when I heard that quote, the first thing came to my mind was a story about him and I believe Gerald Henderson, where Gerald was watching him.
Yes, I remember this.
And he was like, I was watching Kobe shooting, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I see him pointing at the rim, asking for a guy to come check. This guy comes out with a ladder because all his shots were off.
Yep.
And it wasn't Kobe's shot was off. The rim was off.
That's crazy, man.
Right? My shot's not off. The rim is messed up. Someone moved the rim.
Mm.
And lo and behold, he asked the guy later with the ladder, like, what happened? He's like, yeah, the rim was off by half an inch. So think about how many reps you have to put in.
To know that.
Correct. To know that the rim is off by half an inch.
Again, it's like, that's why he's different. He built different.
Correct. But that comes from routine. If you don't have the routine, you don't get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Everything builds on top of each other. Reps, all that. Consistency, love for what you're doing. So this is why, yes, he is built different. But being built different comes with its own level of sacrifices. You can't say, oh, I want the Kobe level fame and glamour, but I'm going to go party too. No, it don't work like that. Or I'm going to eat junk food it doesn't work like that. Or I'm not going to go do conditioning. It won't work.
It doesn't work like that.
No, right? I'm trying to keep my
That's
levels
not
down.
Mamba mentality.
I'm not right. It's you. If you want that level of success, it comes at a cost. Are you willing to put in that, sacrifice those things for that? But the two don't go together. You got to pick one or the other, or some combination, be satisfied with what you get. But if you want that, then it requires a lot more or something, giving up a lot more on the backside of that. So know that too.
So all I'm gonna say to this one, because I knew this was gonna be, that's
my bad.
I knew as soon as he said it, I was like, oh man, perfect for you. Matter of fact, if it were mine, I would have given it to you.
Got the assist.
Oh yeah, totally. I would have just given you the Kobe assist. But for me, what I think about when I think about that quote in Kobe is I think about how many players have been interviewed over time that have said, like, yeah, Kobe would go in and he'd go into a move, and depending on how you played it defensively, he had a counter that as you try to counter, he had a counter. Like, he always had a move, a counter to the counter to the counter. Like,
right.
But that comes from exactly what this is, which is you master every spot on the floor, so that then you start working on all those, like, the crazy summers where he'd have one summer where all he's working on is turnaround left-handed shots. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm working on this summer.
So all that boils down to is what? Fundamentals.
But it's that, like, so even, like, I kind of disagree with you putting Braun in that category, because Braun's different in comparison to his peers. But when you talk about, like, the Kobe work ethic, like, I just don't see Braun at quite because Kobe was maniacal about it, right? Like Bron does it differently.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that he's not prepared. Obviously, his career shows that he's prepared, but like Kobe was maniacal about like I'm with every ounce of my time. If I'm not with my family, I'm going into the gym. What did he say about the whole compressing the day?
Right.
About, okay, if I just start my day a little bit earlier and then I get in this amount of time and then I go have breakfast, take my kids to school, and then I go work out for this amount of time. And my peer's not starting until I'm already on my third workout.
Right.
And then you extrapolate that over time and you just get that much further ahead. Like that's a maniacal level that I don't know that anybody else on this planet was on.
So it comes down to what we always talk about: reps. It's basic numbers. It's a numbers game. I put up more shots than you. I spent more time at it than you. You'll never catch up to me.
Right.
That's it. End of story.
Right.
Right.
And starting from the inside, and I'm gonna master all this, and I'm gonna start working my way out.
Correct.
Until I've got the entire court mastered.
Correct. And just as a reminder, what connects the outside and the inside?
The mid-range.
The mid-range.
The mid-range.
The midi.
So
lost art.
So on this topic, I'd be curious to hear from our off-camera guest what he thinks about with that quote in Kobe. You wanna talk to this one, young man?
Yeah. So he always started close to the basket, right? You should obviously do that because how are you gonna be good outside if you don't master inside, right? Plus the mid-range too, you have to work on that. So inside, work your way out, and that's how you become a better shooter. You can shoot from every spot of the floor. So that's what I think about that.
Good. I love hearing that. And the other thing I want to add to that, when you play with your back to the basket, how far out do you play with your back to the basket?
Not far.
Up to the mid-range.
Up to the mid-range.
Right?
Yeah.
Up to the inside, up to the mid.
Yeah, if you're behind the 3-point line, you cannot turn your back. I see it with these kids all the time.
Exactly.
You cannot turn your back.
And with that though, I want to tie that with the counters you were talking about, because those counters came from where? Being able to go left, right, pump, pivot, spin back. That's where the counters come from.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. You build the fundamentals. You got to master every spot on the floor. And we're gonna do. I really want to do an episode on this on our around the world.
I know you do. He's been talking about it for 4 years now,
bro. We're gonna do it.
Oh, we're gonna do it one day.
And I even did the math on all of it too. The spots on the floor that you have to master and hit from in every potential, way, and every counter to that is endless.
Mm-hmm.
Endless. The way you shoot a three is the way you shoot a three. All you're doing is just mastering it around the arc.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not doing unlimited counters. There's some counters for a three, but not with your back to the basket. No. That exponentially adds to those counters.
Yeah.
And that's what made him great.
Right. No, he was talking about 101, man.
Yeah.
101. All right. Well, I say we do one more.
Sure.
And maybe all three of us can.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. This one is Kobe versus Dwayne Wade.
Ooh.
Over here it says Dwayne Wade would just vanish.
Just vanish?
Just vanish. All right. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are he would vanish because whenever he would go off a screen, he would just somehow just attack and vanish. He would go so fast, you would forget where he even is, and then he would go finish. And that's what I think Kobe means by vanish, because he would just go so fast. That's why he's the Flash.
So it sounds like you did a little bit of film study.
No, I know my players. I know my players.
I know. Oh, that's a mic. Okay.
Oh my goodness. He said, "I know my players."
Hey, no, I love it.
Wow. I love the confidence.
I love it.
I love it. Keep that up.
But what you're saying is true. He would vanish. He would split the defense and be known for the way he flashed into. He was the Flash. That's what Shaq called him, the Flash.
Yep.
And he was known for splitting defenses and just slipping through the crevices and getting into the lane and finishing these acrobatic layups. Yeah, no, I'm with it 100%. When I hear about that, the only thing I think about, one, you already said it, the Flash. The other thing I have a vivid, very clear memory of, and not to Dwayne Wade's liking, is Kobe driving left off the 3 of the arc, jumping up at the top point of the 3-point line, right across the top of the free throw, straight ahead, while fading left, shooting a game winner with Dwayne Wade's hand literally at half an inch or quarter of an inch away from blocking the shot, and it went in off glass for a game winner. And the craziest part about that, though, is when they asked Kobe about, because shooting that shot is not easy. That's a tough shot because you're fading left, right? Fading left is different. So he was talking about, he's like, when you ride a bike, and while you're riding a bike and you're trying to hit a pole, momentum's moving you forward, so you have to throw the rock a little behind. So it catches up, which is true. That's exactly how it works, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah. So he shot the shot behind, so it would gradually align by the time he hits this point. Again, comes down to reps.
And physics.
Right. It's crazy, right? It's that meme where you see the numbers.
But again, it's like that's just what made him so different and special, All right, I'm going to take a little different approach on this and not necessarily talk about Dwayne Wade, but I think the premise of what, talking about Dwayne Wade, like he would just vanish, makes me think about the latter part of Kobe's career, right? Now he's been through some more injuries. He's starting to slow down. His age is creeping out. Father Time is undefeated with everybody except for apparently Tom Brady and LeBron James. But with everybody else, Father Time is undefeated and he comes creeping up, and injuries and all that. And so now you got these youngins who are coming in and coming up through their prime. But the thing that I loved was just like Jordan did for him, right? You get the famous all-star,
right?
Hey, how do you do this? I'm giving you some advice on how to work this move. He was doing for the next generation.
Yes.
And he was starting to give back to the game in that way. And so even though these kids are coming in who are crazy more athletic, but also seeing the potential in them, like the Lucas and whatnot, to say, well, like, let me help to mentor you the same way that others did for me too.
Right, giving back.
But I'm gonna give back, even though you might take me off the drill. But then again, at the same time, he still was able to hold his own. Why? Because of the conversation we just had on the previous one. Right. Because he was so fundamentally sound from everywhere on the floor that he could still be, even though Dwayne Wade might have been faster than him, or some of these other kids might have come in and they're faster or quicker, he was still craftier. He still knew the game better than they did, right? So he still could have that mental advantage that not everybody can really get to his
agreed
basketball IQ.
100%. What do I always tell him? I tell him the same thing. 90-10.
Yep.
The game is played 90% above your shoulders, right? Doesn't matter how fast, big, or strong, or whoever somebody is. If you can outthink them, granted, you're also working on your game, but you can outthink them, you will always have a spot available. You'll be of value add to your team. You'll figure it out.
Right. And not only outthink, but even just like, he was an intimidating force on the court.
Oh, absolutely.
You going up against Kobe, you know shit's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be sweet.
This is what they call it, right? Yeah, shit's not going to be sweet. That's what I was looking for. That's the quote. Like, it's not. And you're going to be in for, you better bring your lunch pail, and
you better go
to sleep, go to bed
early.
Go to bed early. Ain't no clubbing the night before.
Yeah, none of that.
You know what he's doing.
Correct.
Everybody knew he's famous for how maniacal he was going to be.
Correct.
So you know, if you out in the club the night before, Kobe's in the gym right now.
You about to get a triple double put in your hand.
And if God bless you, I mean, if he decides to D you up, right? But again, just thinking about, like, even though he was slowing down, he still had the mental game. Like,
and that's, I'm so glad you said that, because that's the part of the game where you redefine yourself.
Right.
Right. You find that I'm slowing down. That's fine. But I'm much better up here now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. As I'm getting more wiser. This guy's still coming up. He's still raw. Mm-hmm. I know his weakness, and I'm going to target his weakness.
Exactly.
Right. It doesn't matter. You're faster. So whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been many examples of that. Just hoopers that I play with and see who are a little older now, but they still are able to hold their own against youngster, which is what I see him doing, right? Against those flashes and whoever put in front of him. Kyrie, what do you say? Easy money. Easy money.
money.
And he showed it too.
Yep.
So
Right. No, absolutely. He was definitely a one-on-one, and that type of repertoire allows you to drop 60 and then say Mamba out. So on that, it was a great little reminisce tribute to Kobe using his book, some of his memories. That's pretty fun. You got 365 to figure out what the next one is. All right.
I got you, man. I got you.
But with that, again, 2 more months.
Yes.
100 subs. We want to double where we are.
Yes.
And it's starting to creep a little faster. So
Yeah,
we got a shot. We
appreciate it.
We need y'all's help. And for those who have got to this point and stuck around the whole episode, we appreciate y'all.
Much love.
Tuning in. Much love. Special thanks to our in-studio guest for chiming in and participating in the fun with us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, as always,
Think RBA out.
Think RBA out. Peace.
Peace.